but I feel really inspired to be in a room full of women, full of ideas. How about you? I really want to thank you for spending the time listening to me to talk about myself for the next few minutes. Thank you. I don't often get the opportunity to do that. So, about me, it all started when I was born. I'm getting to the point. I was born in Uruguay, which is a tiny country right below Brazil. I was raised in Montreal. I traveled all over the world and still travel today to visit schools in every continent and to speak about early learning, my passion. I've been happily married 16 years to the love of my life, but that is an entire other story. I need another 8 minutes for that one, so I'll tell you later. I have two amazing sons. Dominic is 11 and Julian is 14, and I love them so much. I love being a mother. In fact, since I was 2 years old, I've wanted the same three things: to be a mother, to be a teacher, and to make a difference in the world. I always loved school. I went to junior kindergarten when I was 2 years old, and I was hooked. Learning and teaching, that was my calling for sure. I knew that. Eventually, I graduated as a school teacher, and I did my master's in early learning. I traveled all over the world, teaching and visiting different schools and different methodologies. And soon I realized that although some schools have great programs, we could do so much more, and we really could make schools amazing. So I started sharing my ideas with different principals, but I found that a lot of people were pretty happy sticking to the status quo and leaving things as they were. Schools should be schools. They've been like this for 100 years, right? That's right, you know already. So they weren't interested in change, and they weren't interested in making it fun. What's the point? And so I did what I found was the only right thing to do. At 22 years old, I decided I'm going to open my own school. So, logical. I wanted my school to be the most amazing place, a place where children could truly experience the wonder of learning, where they felt joy to be with one another, where they felt inspired by their surroundings, where they felt captivated by the curriculum, really captivated, and where they felt important. To make that happen, I developed the very best curriculum based on what I had observed in so many different countries. I took the best of everywhere, and I thought, okay, if we could do this for reading, if we could do this for math, if we could do this is what I find important. So the difference was that my curriculum had to not only include the academics, it had to have the arts. It had to have music, drama, art, yoga, compassion, music, cooking, social contribution, empathy. Those are all things that are really, really important in the education of our children and of any person. So I thought, well, that's essential. I'll figure it out, but I'll put it in there. Without the arts, I really think that you're only developing half of your child. So that's why I called my school Core Education and Fine Arts. Now everyone endearingly calls it CIFA for short. So once I had the perfect curriculum, I spent years figuring out how to bring in the curriculum through play. Deliver it only using games, puppets, play, interactive experiences, and lots of adventures. So that took a while. I figured out how to bring every single thing in the curriculum, every math concept, every reading, the way we teach children to read, the way we teach them to write. All of that had to be brought in a most amazing way so that children would really want to learn. And then, of course, I decided that for children to have the time to experience the curriculum in full and still have time to share experiences and feelings with their friends and their teachers, to daydream, and work on their own projects, the school would be open full days. The child would be the one deciding when to come into school and when to leave school. And then because the program was full day, see, it keeps getting more and more complicated. That's what happens when you don't stop thinking. Because it was going to be opening full days, of course I would need a chef, because children can't be in an all-day program and not have the proper nutrition. Nutrition is part of their education as well. They need to eat fresh. nutritious food, and share their mealtime with their friends. That in itself was a learning experience. So I spent years working on every detail of the curriculum until I felt everything was perfect. Then I realized that the delivery of this child-centered curriculum, where it was crucial to observe and plan for each and every child, wasn't something a teacher was prepared or an early childhood educator even was ready to do or trained to do. So I created a training program for the teachers. All of this before I opened the school. So once I finally opened my school and convinced the first few parents that although we were completely different from everybody else out there and different from the norm, this was the school for them. This was the way to go. That was the only way that you could educate your children. And CIFA to me is the most magical place in the world. As a teacher, I can teach any grade, but I focus my program on the early years because I feel that that's where I can make the biggest contribution. The world, and particularly North America, doesn't give the first 5 years the importance it deserves. What our children learn in the first 5 years and how they learn it, the learning experience itself, will affect their ability to learn for the rest of their lives. So I dedicated my life's work to educating parents on the importance of the early years and making the most of that time for our children. Sadly, for most parents still today, when they think of learning, they think of school. And when they think of school, they think of the years they spent behind a desk, enduring their education. So they will do everything they can to protect their children from that for as long as possible. Most people have no idea that learning and play are not mutually exclusive. They should never be. Schools have you believe that, but it's not true. CIFA parents love the school so much that today we have 15 CIFA early learning schools, all owned by parents and teachers who want to contribute to our communities by making sure that as many children as possible have access to that incredible educational start during their brain's most formative years. I believe that our schools prepare children for so much more than kindergarten. They prepare them for a life lived with purpose. I shared with you earlier that I found my purpose when I was 2 years old. To be a mother, to be a teacher, and to make a difference in the world. I've had the incredible privilege in my life to do what I always dreamed of doing. And I want to encourage your children now to do the same, to live their lives with purpose. All they need to do is know that they can. Thank you.